Welcome to the first ever episode of FPL Affairs. This podcast takes you on the 9-month-long FPL love affair journey and includes all the ins and outs that keep you awake at night. In this first episode, meet the hosts. Myself and my co-hosts discuss our own FPL histories, what lessons we've learnt, and how our season is going to date. If you enjoy the episode, please smack that like and add any comments you may have on what you would like us to discuss in the future. Anyway, let's get cracking.
And there's Mo Salah. There goes Haaland. He's on his way again. He's hungry. He's scored. Ice cold precision from Palmer. Kayo Saka. That is a diamond of a goal.
To the first episode of FPL Affairs with me, Matt. I'm your main host, and every week I am accompanied by the delightful Jack and marvellous Martin. Man, that sounded terrible. And this first episode, as I said in the intro, is just Meet Us, where we talk about our FPL histories, how terrible our ranks are, or were, or maybe still are, how long we've been playing, and what lessons we've learnt, really, and then perhaps you'll be able to relate to one of us, or all of us, or hopefully none of us. But anyway, enough of me talking for now. How you doing, guys?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah, good.
Yeah, Martin?
Not too bad, it's past my bedtime. We are recording 20 to 10. Wednesday evening.
20 to 10, yeah. Yeah, sorry it's this late, ladies and gentlemen. We had significant technical failures.
Significant technical issues, but we're all
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, Martin, how long have you been playing?
A year.
A year. Nice. How did you do in that year?
I finished about, I think, 7,200,000, something like that. But
So,
it's not my.
in which case the only way is up.
Not really.
In which case the only way is up from that, hopefully, and hopefully this podcast you'll learn something or some things, and you'll be a lot better off for it this year.
Yeah, well, that's it.
How about you, Jack?
I've been playing 10, 11 seasons, I think. I'd say I've been playing seriously the last 4 or 5, which is quite reflected in my ranks. But I was a bit of a tinker man back in the day and took -24s and lived the dream week in, week out. And just wildcarded every week, not really.
That's my reason.
That it impacted your points. Yeah, so proper novice, but lived the dream every week and just played whoever I wanted to play. But then started taking the game a bit more seriously in the 2021 season. Broke into the top million in that season at like 250k, and then following season got the top 10k at 8,500 and like 12 or whatever it was, and then managed the following season to get into the top 100 at Christmas, and then had a diabolical end to the season and finished 43k, and then last season finished 7,100 and something. So the last 4 years have been pretty good since I've stopped wildcarding every week and living the dream, taking it a bit more seriously.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's luck or no, it's just luck. Yeah,
A little bit.
It's nothing else. It's just luck.
So,
but yeah,
Mark, listen to Jack. Then take his tips.
Don't take my
Oh
tip.
no,
Please
I don't even know why I'm playing FPL. To be fair, I'm saying I don't know why I'm playing it. I do now, but when I first got into it, it was. I say obviously it wasn't last season, but the season before, my brother was playing it, and we're in the pub, and he jumped up and screamed. He said, "Ollie Watkins has scored!" Yes, I said to him, you put a bet on it?" I said, no, it's FPL. I said, "Oh no, I'm not doing all them games. I don't bother with that stuff." He's like, no, come on, just try it.
What?
I'm like, no. Anyway, next season I set it up and loved it. Even though I did finish 7 millionth, like, but
Literally the same. I've
I
never played. Yeah, I've never played any games. I literally never
no.
played. I didn't have like an Xbox as a kid. Nothing. Literally never done it. And then thought people that played FPL were like nerds. And then literally, in that case, I am a fully fledged nerd and join the gang, join the cult, and literally absolutely obsessed about it all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
What about you, Matt?
I got into it. I think I just left uni, and a couple of my friends at uni got into it, and I basically got invited to join their mini league. So it was like, yeah, sounds a bit of fun sort of thing, and just was largely a normal fan, and most weeks I sort of remembered to, oh yeah, I'll just tweak the players. Some weeks I remembered, some weeks I forgot. That very much casual point, and then the further into the season you get, and you notice the points you end, just think, oh, I've got no chance with this, and not bother. And then when my team didn't got relegated, guesses on a postcard, viewers, if you can read the mirror writing on the flag behind me. Didn't play those seasons, and then I think really, it was still very much bit part. And then one of those friends that was the main person that sort of set up those mini leagues, lost touch with him. I say lost touch, probably more fell out with, really. Always held a grudge since his. Well, it wasn't really FPL. I always had a little bit of a grudge with him, and still do. When 2004 Euros, his workplace was doing a sweeps. His workplace was doing a sweepstake, and I've bored Jack already. His workplace were doing a sweepstake, and small workplace was only 16 teams, but they still needed extra. So he was just like, oh, pound in, so it was fine, and pulled out, and he was just like, oh, you got Greece. So I was like, oh, right, okay. Greece then obviously go on ahead and win it. It was only a quid each, so it was only 16 quid. Have I seen that 16 quid? No, never seen it.
Never seen it.
No.
Hell of a win for Greece.
Interest is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That'd be worth a lot now.
Imagine if it were Wonga loans. Ooh.
Yeah, maybe I'll try and find him and say, right, this is the interest you owe me from that 2004 Euros. But anyway, going a little bit off the point, really. So yeah, I think I totaled up. I've done. This is maybe my 14th season. As for whether I'm an expert, no chance, nowhere near. I think I've probably, out of that, I'm in my maybe 4th serious season, which I started seriously by remembering to do it, to look at the team every week, and then my initial thing of utilizing the free transfers was just thinking, right, going on the app and who are the most popular transfers in this week, and bringing those players in if I could afford them, or stats wise, didn't look at it. It was just like, right, what are the most popular transfers in, and then progressively sort of. So I went from being about 4 million 5 years ago to about just inside the top 800k for 2 years. I think 746k, and then 700, and then last 2 years I've managed to get into the top 100k.
Oh, good.
So it was like 746k, 700k.
That's all right. It's not too bad.
Then take it even more seriously by watching content creators and listening to podcasts. And yeah, that got me to the top 100k. 2 years ago I was absolutely fuming because I was able. I thought Um, it was game week 37. I had a really good week, and it got me just inside the top 50k. So I was like, excellent. And then last game week was scandalous and dropped outside of it to 64k. And then I went into last season just I'm determined to break the top 50, and had a good start. I think game week 20 I was up to 4k in the world. And then the second half was diabolical. It was just sort of like red, 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 green arrow, red arrow, red arrow, green. And it was sort of, but I managed to stay inside the top 100k for the rest of it. I think I did drop out of the top 50k a couple of times, but managed to sort of get back in. And then had a poor last game week again, which dropped me from about 15k to 22. But
is there
progress.
something you think you're doing in like the last game week that's making you sort of absolutely lose it right at the end?
I have no idea. Maybe it was just that those seasons, the double game weeks that always happen around the 34 and 37.
Yeah.
I called them right, so therefore made decent jumps on those. But then the teams I had for those didn't necessarily materialise well for the
The thing is,
game
as
week
well,
38.
if you'd have gone for differentials that other people hadn't gone for and they'd have returned, you'd have been in a completely different position. Completely different. And that's going back to what you said, it's a game of luck.
Yeah, I had Eze on the last day. I think I had a last day of dreams last season. I think I went from like something like probably 16k to 7.5 on the last day.
Did
you use chips?
I went.
Or
no,
take any hits?
No, I didn't take a hit. I had. No. I think if I remember rightly, I had one free transfer and I brought in Eze, and I think he got like something like 18, 19 on the last day, and then
Palace won 5.
Yeah, they
Palace
won 5, didn't they?
2 or something.
Yeah, some people brought in Elise. I think I had Mateta as well because I think I had it. Yeah, I just had lift off on the last day of the season, which I was really pleased with, obviously. But yeah, all my other seasons, I've ended on a red. Like the week when I finished in 8.5k, I ended on a red because I was 6k, and I was hoping to push into the top 5k. And bearing in mind the season before I was 240 odd k, so it was like I got a nosebleed up there. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know what I was doing, and then obviously dropped to 8k and was disappointed, and then for all of 3 seconds and had to remind myself of like where I'd been. But yeah, it's hard sometimes on the last day if you're chasing a rank, or if you're do you know what I mean, last couple of weeks. I mean, we won't have them this year because there's not as many doubles because of the FA Cup fixtures and stuff like that, so it's not those obviously last year we had the free hit and the bench boost debacle. Some people went in 29, didn't they, and it flopped, and other people I brought in Muniz for game week 19, I think it was, whatever it was, the week where everybody free hitted and got like 12. Everybody brought in
it's when
and he got sent off.
Yeah, who was it came off early as well, when he got injured.
4 fixtures.
Who was it that got injured last season?
Everybody brought in Tony or something, and then he got like 1. Reguilon got sent off. I brought in Muniz, who got like 18 or something stupid again. You know what I mean? And then that was like a turning point of my season. And then free hitted I can't remember. I think I free hitted in game week 34 and just finished really strongly. Yeah, but it's like
when everyone triple
fine
captains in double game weeks.
Yeah.
So
double
game weeks.
You what?
You've what? Sorry.
I've used my triple captain this year.
Did you use
well,
Haaland?
Yeah, I had Haaland against
Yeah,
Ipswich.
yeah,
yeah. Well,
why wouldn't you?
we'll come on to this season in a little while. But what would you say from the varying length number of seasons we've had and ranks wise? What would you say your main lessons you've each learnt from ranking, from performance, from how you play it?
Sure, kick us off, Matt. What have you learnt from last year to this year?
What,
Me?
me or we don't me?
Well, yeah, well, Martin's only played a year. So, what lessons have you learnt sort of from last year to this year?
Not a lot. I'm only learning now. So
Play
last
Haaland.
year, no, this is the thing. So I actually renamed my team No Haaland FC, and that was after the second game week. So I obviously came into FPL like, oh, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna smash it. It can't be that hard. So I thought, right, I'm gonna go for the most obvious players: Mo Salah, who did I pick? Obviously Haaland, and all your typical.
Mm.
I can't remember, to be honest. Like I'd only just started
Template,
playing,
yeah.
so it was like a maze. As soon as you go on and you're picking all your players, it's like you don't know what to do. So I chose Haaland, I chose Salah, and Haaland, I I triple captained him in the second game week, and he did nothing. He literally did nothing. So I was like, right, I hate Haaland. I'm sick of him. I'm a Liverpool supporter, so he always took everything away from Liverpool. So I was like, right,
Yeah.
he's gone. I'm going to rename my team No Haaland FC, and I went the rest of the season without him. Like, and I'm like, I'm going to show everyone that you do not need Haaland. And I was making all these wise moves, like, Isak, bring him in. He's scoring 2 goals in a game. I'm thinking, this is brilliant. I go to the end of the season, 7,200,000, whatever rank. And I'm like, right, yeah, I need Haaland. So I know you say last season, but this season I've now brought in Salah and Haaland, and I'm not getting rid of them, keeping them.
Are you
Obviously,
going to keep
Salah,
them?
I'm going to keep them, yeah. I've
Oh, yeah.
wildcarded and I've got them both. I've got Havertz, I've got a pretty good team to be fair. I've got Gabriel, I've got Mbomo, I've got. I can't remember. I'm the apprentice here.
Maybe we'll hold you that. Hashtag apprentice.
I am the apprentice.
So, you're saying that main lesson you learnt really from
Yeah,
being burned by Haaland then last season, that this season you've come into it with a getting in the best
yeah.
spine of a
I'd
team
say,
and then just filling around them as budget goes.
yeah, I'd say my two main things that I did wrong was using my chips wrong. That was one thing, and
Did you
taking
plan them?
no. It's like the Haaland triple captain. I thought Haaland's decent. I can't remember who he was against. It was nothing special. It was just like, why not? I wasn't taking it seriously. So I was like, right, there we go, triple captain, bang, done. And I'd used, I think, 3 chips by like the 5th game week or something. And I was like, what's up with that? And now looking back, thinking, no, that is terrible. That is really bad. And also taking like -8, -12, benching the wrong players, doing a bench boost when I've got 2 injured players on the bench, like stupid stuff like that. Like, I really, really need to start learning here. So I started listening to, like your Let's Talk FPL, Andy, and FPL Raptor, FPL Fran. A lot of people haven't heard of him, but most, or some have. But the problem with listening to a lot of these, let's say, podcast, whatever you want to call them,
Content creators.
content creators, that's the one. The problem with listening to them is that other people are listening to them too, so it doesn't help your rank. Like,
No.
so it's going for the differentials and taking the risk of finishing 7 millionth again.
Well, some of them aren't even differentials. Like, for example, the content creators. I mean, Twitter's or X, whatever you want to call it, is like it's just full of ideas. Like the amount of times I've gone, you know what I mean? You watch a game on a Saturday or a Sunday, and you think, oh, he's a player. Like you Eight Nori last year. You like watch him, watch a Wolves. Nobody really. Wolves are very rarely on the telly. So Wolves come on the telly, and you watch him, and you think, oh, he likes to get forward.
Yeah.
He's basically playing as a left winger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wolves were in a bit of a vein of form at that time, and you're thinking,
Yeah.
oh, here we go. I'm going to bring in Eight Nori. He's my transfer for the week, and that's on
Trent out.
Sunday afternoon. By the time you go on
Yeah.
Monday, Eight Nuri is everywhere. Everybody's getting on Eight Nuri, and like
That's
you
it.
have to have a conversation. You have to have like an argument with yourself. It's like, because he's not your shiny new toy. Now he's everybody's shiny new toy. You don't know whether you carry on like because it was your initial idea. You don't know whether you just carry on and put him in, or whether you go, well now everybody's got him. So now you don't do it. Do you see what I mean? And then you don't do it, and then of course he does well, and you think, well that was a good idea. You know what I mean? It's just so difficult to gauge.
I was saying the same thing before we actually started recording about Isak, and I'm thinking there's something about Isak that I'm just not. He's a bit different this year. I know it's early. I know he's got a lot of time, but there's something not right. And I'm thinking Ipswich are going to give everything. They're going to give everything to stay up, and I don't know why I think it, but I think they will. I think they'll stay up.
Really?
But I'm thinking, I do. I genuinely do. So I thought, right, Isak, I'm going to get rid of him. I'm going to get Delap. And then they both are returning the same week. And
well,
should have had them both.
Delap's almost done better, actually, than Isak, hasn't he, since they've been pretty much on par, and there's a lot of money saved there.
Yeah.
Newcastle, sorry, Matt, Newcastle don't look too good at the moment.
Well, we'll come on to that in a bit. Now, divert into what lessons have you learnt, Jack, over the years?
Over the years, same ones as Martin just said, to be perfectly honest. I think you can try and be too clever. Because me and Martin had like a conversation on Facebook last season about Haaland. And I remember you saying something like he's a tapping merchant, or he only gets goals because he's in like a great team surrounded by great players. And I was a bit like, yeah, that's cool, but who cares? Well, how he scores, just as long as he keeps scoring. Do you know what I mean? Like points and points, just keep banging in the points. I don't care how he scores. Like, do you know what I mean? Like lessons learned like that. I think not to rely too much on the eye test. There are a lot of players that look really good, look quite attacking, but tend to not actually sort of produce any FPL points. And I, with regards to like content, I used to just watch Let's Talk FPL, and I feel like if you only listen to one person, you only get one opinion. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody's got different opinions on different players, different strategies, different. You know what I mean? What the best move is. So I started to listen to a lot of content, and you get mainly for information gathering. I never really wanted to base a decision based on somebody telling me, because I don't feel like that's playing the game. I want to make my own decision. But what I wanted to do is make sure I had the most information to make that decision. So I would watch all different content, listen to all different stuff, to get statistics and ideas and other things that maybe I've missed. Do you know what I mean? Like Martin said about Mateta the other day, but then and I thought, but because I'd listened to a video or something that day, somebody had said that he got brought off at halftime. Do you know what I mean? So I had that information. So like just listening to all sorts of things. Yeah, you obviously did, but like, do you know what I mean? Just because you're just information gathering. And the other thing is planning. I never used to plan. I really do think you need to plan.
Yeah.
And then again, just because you plan doesn't mean you need to stick to it as well. You need to be able to adapt within that plan, because otherwise, if you just make a plan and stick to it, you can really damage your rank. So I think planning helped me a lot over the last few years. I would put probably planning down as the one thing.
Especially if you're a wild card.
Yeah, when you're going to wild card, how to dead end into a wild card. Obviously, you don't really dead end into it anymore because you can roll transfers, stuff like that. But again, I get just knowing what I'm going to be doing, what money I need, chip strategy, everything like that. And then, I mean, most plans I never really followed, but I I never really plan more than sort of 4 or 5 game weeks ahead either, because melee and everything can change.
Yeah.
So you need to sort of roll with that. But yeah, planning, I'd say, and then not trying to be too clever. Accepting that, like, Haaland's just Haaland. Don't try and be too clever. Don't think you can. Do you know what I mean? Oh, well, would you rather have Salah and 3 million? No, I'd rather have Haaland. Do you know what I mean?
I'd rather have both.
Too clever. Yeah,
I'll tell you what, I don't mean to interrupt, but you see the teams of, like, people. There's a lot of content creators saying, "Oh, you can't have both and have a decent squad." You can. You really can. You can. You got to really look at the fixtures they've got. I'm not an expert. You know, I'm not. I'm terrible at this whole thing, but I'm really starting to take this seriously. And like, you're looking at, you've got Haaland, you've got Salah, and I'd love to. I don't know if I close this, if I get my team up, I don't know what will happen if it'll close it, so I won't. Maybe in the next episode we'll cover our teams or something like that and talk about everything. But I'm going to go back to what you were saying about planning. Wildcarding. It's like I've got Salah, I've got Haaland, and I'm kind of thinking, I've kind of lost my train of thought.
So you're wildcarding this week?
I have wildcarded, yeah.
So are you saying that, because I might be on the same wavelength as you, so I'm thinking about whether I need both of them, whether I lose one of them, whether I stick with Haaland and drop Salah, or whether I just have both of them, because like I said before the season, everybody was saying you don't have to have Salah or you don't have to have Haaland. You can have one in a better squad and blah blah blah. But they are just the two best players in the game, and I don't feel like you can look at it and not have the two best players in the game. And also, it's how you're going to react if the other one does well. If you choose Haaland and every week Salah does brilliantly, you're just going to be annoyed at the fact that you never chose him. Then just choose him. Do you know what I mean? Then just choose him and figure it out. And also, there are so many good budget options like Smith Rowe, Rodgers. Do you know what I mean? Even in neighbours. I said about him at the weekend, but Tyler Diblin at Southampton for $4.5 million. He's starting week in, week out. I'm a Saints fan. He's our hero at the moment. So, and he's only $4.5 million, and he will continue to start. And he is a decent player. I know I'm a Saints fan, so
well, that's what I was going to say about Haaland and Salah.
Player is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. Sorry. With Haaland and Salah, Haaland is obviously in a team of Man City. Man City, there's no guarantees. Like, you don't know who's going to play. But Haaland's like the only striker. Like, you can pretty much guarantee he's going to play. If he's fit, he'll play.
Yeah.
Same with Mo Salah. He's guaranteed minutes. Do I want to swap Mo Salah for Jota? Not really. Do I want to swap him for, let's say, have someone like Gakpo up front? Not really. Like, it's the minutes. And as long as they've got, like, say, a penalty claim within that 90, it's always worth going for them. Always. That's my... You know, other people can completely disagree, and I'm probably talking rubbish, but I just think that they're important. Mo Salah having, like, the most FPL points in history, whether that's just stats, who knows, but he's brilliant. At Anfield, he's unbelievable. Like, I know he's had past couple of weeks, for example, haven't been great, but look at his returns to start with. Like,
I mean,
he matched Haaland.
Fan, though.
It's nothing to do with it.
No, I bet it doesn't. I don't have that problem with being a Saints fan. I don't want to pick any of our players.
I'm sort of
because you'd have a lot of money spare.
Yeah,
that was kind of one of lessons learned for me, which sometimes has worked and sometimes hasn't, being a Newcastle fan and it being so up and down. I think since taking it seriously, I've learned about how, again, the eye test thing, about I went from picking some of the best players for most influential players for teams, but ones that don't necessarily match up with FPL wise. So
Son.
And so I kind of learnt about that, I think, in the when I went that jump from 700k to 64, I think a couple of big changes then were, right, my opening squad for that season, right, okay, attacking fullbacks. Just think I went from going, right, I'm going to play a back three, so I'll have like three central defenders, kind of taking it away from that mindset as if I was playing a football manager game, like Championship Manager back in the day, to actually thinking, well, no, I don't want a formation with like the best two, I need a left winger, I need a right winger, I want three central midfielders, I want, one defensive one. To be like, well, that doesn't work with FPL because it doesn't relate. So I then went into, right, I want to look at the budget. I want, if I'm going to play three at the back, I want three attacking fullbacks within budget.
Yeah.
And then midfielders wise, I think one summer I started Bruno Guimaraes because Newcastle's best player at the time. It was the summer Isak signed. Started with him. He didn't last in the team that long because I realised, okay, he may be arguably our best player, but doesn't equate to FPL points. And I think because Newcastle had been linked with Moussa Diaby, I got him in as well from the off. And I think lesson I've learned the couple of seasons with how rank can fluctuate so much at the beginning, not really to take much notice of it, which I still do anyway, was to play it safe at the beginning, be a bit more template at the beginning, and this season and last, I went into it with, I don't think I had in my squad any players that didn't have Premier League experience. So I think like for the budget, third place spot on your bench, I got from one of the promoted teams, but it was a player that was going to be 90 minutes and had played in the Premier League before. So it was kind of be a bit more narrow and careful with team selection, really. And again, Jack, what you said with planning, I've done that a lot more. And chip strategy, one of the things once I became more strategic about that, I played double captaincy on Marcus Rashford a couple of years ago when he had 2 home matches and got 20 points. So I got a nice 60-point pointer, which jumped me up a massive
Love that.
league.
I remember when he was good.
And, yeah. And well,
You got a good memory.
yeah, and then I think it was the end of the same season. So this being not last season, season before, and both Isak and Wilson were fit, and loads of talk in social media was like, right, do you get Wilson or do you get Isak?
I remember
And I was like, right, well, as a Newcastle fan, when they're both fit, Eddie Howe was judged. It was generally if one player started one game, they played about 65 minutes, and the other one came off the bench. So, for example, if Wilson started, he played 65 minutes. Isak came on for the last 25 minutes, half an hour.
Who has the bigger
impact? Then the next game, Isak started, and Wilson came off the bench.
I see what you're saying.
And we were coming into, I think two double wins quite close together, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to have both of them. So I think, and I was sort of flipping as well. My third choice was it fluctuated. I either had Kane or Haaland, depending on fixtures, and Isak and Wilson were the other two, and I think I played both of, particularly double game weeks. I played both of them because I thought, well, at worst, one's going to start. You know, it would effectively mean I'd get at least 2 starts and 2 sub appearances.
And Kane's guaranteed a penalty.
And because of, I can't remember exactly the reason why, but because of his relationship with Wilson, I decided to captain Wilson that double game week because of
I remember
Wilson's
this.
record, and I think more people captained Isak
Yeah.
because he's a 63 million pound striker, and I think both matches were at home. Isak maybe got
I think they
because
both
when
started. I feel like they both started and he played them on the left. Didn't he
yeah,
start
that's
Isak on the left and Wilson through the middle?
I think before that double game week, Howard played Isak and Wilson together once, and I
Yeah.
think we were losing at Brentford half time.
Oh, man.
So he brought Wilson on and chucked Isak on the left, and and either that or he brought Isak on and put Isak on the left. Either way, I then thought, right, I've got both of them, and it was if they're both on the pitch, Isak's going to be on the left. So Isak was it'd either be on the bench ready to come on probably for Wilson, or he'll be wide left. So whereas a new Callum Wilson, if he's on the pitch, he's playing centre forward, and people would be getting the ball to him. So that's why I captained Wilson, and then it was when he got 20 points in a double game week, so I got 40 from him, and I think Isak maybe got an assist.
Yeah, I think he got
Or
8.
something, or maybe 2
He
assists.
got 8. I had him as captain and he got 8. And I had spent I got like PTSD. I spent all week thinking Wilson, all week. You know what I mean? How many times does that happen where you think something all week and then it gets to the deadline and you go a full U-turn and do something totally different? But because he was like, I think he was in a rich vein of form. Callum Wilson's made of glass anyway. So I was like, well, he's never going to start 2 games in a week. And then went with Isak. And again, this is like why we love the game and hate it all at the same time.
Yeah.
Wilson goes and bangs. I think that was the season where, like I said, I was doing really well at Christmas and then fell off the edge of a cliff. I think that was literally one of the really like final nails in the coffin for me. I think I went out to like 70 odd K because it was like late in the season. I managed to wrestle it back to 40K, but yeah, it was like heartbreaking.
But it can also show how close it is. Like how many points difference? Like you're probably talking 10 points or something. Maybe not even that. You know, you could have 100K.
But it
it's
was enough.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mm.
It's small margins.
Yeah,
But a question for you both: Do you take discipline into account when you're buying a player?
What do you mean?
As in cards, as in who's likely to get card? Do you take that into account? If you're looking at, say, I don't know, because me, I'm thinking Haaland, right? I'm thinking he's obviously you've seen the scenes this weekend, just gone. Like, is he a bit of a loose cannon? Is he going to get himself in a lot of trouble? Like,
well, I think in that Arsenal game, yeah, I think Man City are now threatened by Arsenal, whereas I feel like a few seasons ago, like they were by Liverpool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Klopp a couple of seasons ago, and like they may be under Slot if he carries on. Do you know what I mean? Playing the way that they are, but I think there's a bit of needle in that game. I don't think he's got that much needle, and also from what I've seen, Gabriel just runs his mouth for 90 minutes. Sorry, Arsenal fans, obviously class and unreal, but do you know what I mean? I think he likes to give it. Do you know what I mean? Which is fine. Give it. That's absolutely fine. So I think and also we won't get onto the throwing the ball at the back of the head thing, but do you know what I mean? Like, I think Man City are threatened by Arsenal. Arsenal. I was listening to Gary Neville. He said City have got what Arsenal got and won. Do you know what I mean? So they're going to hate it. So they're just needle in that game. I think with discipline, I look at it when it comes to like being banned for a game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? When it comes down there, I think I look at it then, and I also you look at players that do get a lot of yellow cards. Do you know what I mean? So there are plenty like Nick Jackson last season, prime example. Just
they lose your
like
returns
6 in a row. And then you lose bonus. You lose bonus because of it as well.
Yeah.
So
liabilities.
But, I mean, if Haaland was to score 2 goals every week and get a yellow card every week, I'd still have him. Do you know what I mean? It depends on like the balance. Like Nick Jackson last season for a period of time couldn't hit a barn if he was stood in one, and then would just get a yellow card, and they just have so many 1-pointers. But I think this season, I think he's a bit better. But yeah, I think when it comes to the run around sort of Christmas time, when they start totting up and they start looking at you're going to get 10 or 5 or whatever it is, and also this season they're being handed out like confetti as well. I think that these bans are going to come a lot earlier than normal. I mean, a couple of weeks ago there was like 60. Was it like 65 in a weekend or something?
Yeah, 65, and that was a record
So
number.
I think it is going to be a real element this season. I think players are going to get a lot more yellows, and therefore
More so with VAR and everything, and
and VAR
can't get away with anything,
involved.
can you?
No, and so yeah, I will start to take it into account probably game week 9, 10, I think, when they start. Do you know what I mean? Those players that have got their 5. Do you know what I mean? You start thinking about it then, I reckon. But for now, I don't know. Defenders is
early days
where I think it's too early to think about it now. But I mean, you do look. Do you know what I mean? If
nearer the end of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. And now I'm on a wild card, so I will look. So I'm not going to bring in someone. I might bring in someone on 3 yellow cards. Do you know what I mean? But
you don't want to be stuck later on, do you? Like going for having you go wild card and you're stuck with having to make 3 transfers in 1 week because you don't have anyone to play. Like you've got to be careful, haven't you?
I think you can have one.
So, but both of you, I think, it's been quite open saying you're both wildcarding this week. How's this season gone for each of you so far as that's determined wildcard this week? Like, have you planned it? Is it spur of the moment, or
go for it, Jack?
You want me to go? So this is probably the weirdest wildcard I've ever played, because my rank is pretty good.
where are you now?
Hang on, I'll check, as I've genuinely forgotten. I am currently 158k. I was 45k in game week 3. Had a bad week in game week 4, but yeah.
Which players were your issue?
When?
Sorry, now you've wildcarded. So which players do you think are the issue?
I don't. But this is why it's a weird wildcard. I don't have any issues. Jota, to be fair, right? Then that was only became an issue sort of this weekend. He started tonight. I don't know how much he played. Nunes also started. Yeah, well, Jota and Nunes started tonight, which I thought was interesting, because I thought whoever gets sort of sub first is starting at the weekend. But I mean, you don't know, do you?
Yeah.
So I heard that Jota was a late change anyway.
Jota scored. I don't know if you heard that. Though.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, you're right. So that's my only issue. My other issue is I'm not wildcarding based on issues in my team. I'm wildcarding based on players I don't have. I don't have any Arsenal, which is why I had a bad game week 4, and other reasons. But yeah, I mean I've wildcarded Ollie Watkins out, and he's about to play Ipswich. Do you know what I mean? And
it's the minutes risk having.
Yeah, like Trent, Salah, and do you know what I mean? I might wildcard out Trent and Salah against Wolves. Do you know what I mean? And so then, but I might bring in Gabriel and Saka against Leicester. But so you can't have everybody. But this is why, for me right now, wildcarding. So far, all I've done is bring players in to protect price rises.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? And price drops. So I took out João Pedro early doors and changed all of that. But I actually have no idea what my set. I know who I want, like Gabriel, like Saka. I read today that has missed tonight's game with like a thigh injury. So that might change a few things.
I don't have him in there anyway.
Well, I got him in because of his price rise, and again, that was another reason why. I mean, that might change things for me now. I might go Havertz, but I've wildcarded, and I'm almost in the dark of who to keep and get rid of, because Smith Rowe and Rodgers are such good budget options, and although their fixtures aren't great on a fixture ticker. I also think that's another lesson I learned is looking at the greens and the greys and the reds, but then you actually analyse the fixture, and
Yeah.
some reds should be grey,
Yeah.
some greys should be reds. Do
Mm.
you see what I mean? You need to sort of
Yeah.
know a bit to sort of judge it. I actually think Smith Rowe's got some really good fixtures coming up. Well,
Yeah.
perfectly good ones anyway for his price.
Mm.
I mean, Rogers at 5, I got him in at 5. So what's the point in changing him? Don't look a gift horse in the mouth with that. And so, you know what I mean? And then I'm looking at trying to keep Trent, Salah, Rogers, Smith Rowe. I don't really need to get rid of Watkins. I don't need to get rid of Henderson's just finally returned. All of these things. And so I'm looking at my squad of 15 players, apart from Barco, who I've just kept his dead weight from game week 1. We all fell into that.
You may as
pretty
well.
much.
You may as well.
Yeah, so I don't know who I want to get rid of. Do you know what I mean? So that's what my wild card's odd for me this week. It's the weirdest one I've ever had. Normally
It is
I'm
hard
like,
though, isn't it?
angry wild card. I'm like, I hate my team. I want to change everybody.
It's not like
Yeah,
you
now
can
I'm
revert
looking at
back, is it? Like,
Yeah.
That's it.
No, to be I'll go into my season wild card shortly. But what about you, Martin? With your wild card for this week?
I planned it. Yeah, I planned it. So the majority, I mean, like I've said, I don't know if I close this app now, I don't know whether it'll turn me off. Like, turn off the screen. I'll attempt it.
We'll see.
There we go. Now I think it's all right.
Yeah, I can still see.
Yeah, so I'll tell you my. Sorry, bear with me. I'm gonna go onto my fantasy app now. There we go. Right. So I have wildcarded. I pretty much changed every player that I had, apart from Flecken, Salah, Haaland. Every player's changed.
What's your current rank?
Current. So just note that I did finish 7 millionth. 3 millionth. 3 million.
No, I was just wondering.
Well, that's right. More than half your rank.
That's it. I'm honestly. I said if I finish 5 million, I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Steady progress.
Yeah.
Steady progress.
No, it's funny to be fair because my my local mini league last season I finished like second or third, but finished like 7 millionth.
Yeah.
So I went from thinking I was really good. I only found out I finished 7 millionth like tonight because I looked at my history. Like,
did you really?
I thought I finished 5 millionth. So I thought, that's not too bad because that's like 50%. Like there's 10 million players. Well, that's not bad. But no.
Top
No,
50%.
7.
Yeah. So if you want, can I read you my my team? I don't know if you. So I've got for this week. I've got Flecken in net against West Ham at home. Got Virgil against Wolves. Gabriel against Leicester. Timber against Leicester, which I'm not sure. Zabani against Southampton. Then I've got it's a 4-4-2. Then I've got Mo Salah obviously against Wolves. And Bomo against West Ham. Semenyo Southampton. Onana Ipswich. Havertz Leicester. Haaland Newcastle.
So how much emphasis are you putting on a formation? So I always find that's quite interesting. So you've gone for a 4-4-2 there. A lot of years ago when you played FPL, because of the amount of striking options there were, everybody played 3-4-3 though. You know what I mean? If you wanted because there was just so many good strikers. And good budget ones as well, like Vardy and you know what I mean, players like that. And then this year and probably last year, there've been so many good midfield options because obviously a lot of players became midfield options to play 3-5-2. What's your take on a 4-4-2?
Mine,
Would
sorry.
you rather have a 3-5? Yeah, on yours. Would you rather have a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3?
I've gone with this. If I'm to go with this would be this would be my first game week this season of doing a 4. Like, I'm not keen on having 4 defenders when you may as well have more midfielders in my book.
Yeah.
Because, midfielders can defend, midfielders can assist. Like, unless you've got somebody, say, don't really have much. Let's say Gabriel, like he can attack. He's got an attacking threat. That's fine. Yeah. So if you go for a 4 at the back, if I had Trent, Gabriel, and let's say last season going back to 8 Nuri. the push up, or they can assist. I don't
Yeah,
mind that, but
yeah,
I'm not. Again, I'm the apprentice, so I'm not too sure. I mean, if I was to take off Timber, if I wasn't sure on his minutes, I'd either bring on that. I don't even know how to. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. NDA forward from Everton.
yeah. I think it's
Um,
NDI, but yeah, like
NDI,
you
yeah,
say, how do you do that? How do you say that? Yeah,
yeah, NDI or something. Yeah, and then I've got Andreas Pereira from Fulham
Mm.
in midfield. So it's a bit like I don't know. I mean,
Was it was it budgetary? Why possibly him over Smith Rowe?
I just don't like. So you were talking about Smith Rowe before, um, and everybody's going for him. I'm just thinking, if a lot.
yeah.
The
But
thing
we
is,
had this conversation. Don't try and be too clever. He's just a
I'm not
really
being
good
clever.
asset.
No, 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 no. No, I'm not being too clever. I'm being smart because this is the right thing to do.
Right. Well,
It's the right thing to do. Everyone's selling. Well, I say everyone. Look at Mo Salah. How many people have sold him this week?
Yeah,
Like, stick to him. Stick with him.
yeah, yeah.
My
what?
God, I'll make them points up with him.
So you say, uh,
We've got a lot to
who's your
talk about,
midfield?
man. Me and you've got a lot to talk about.
What,
Who's your midfield and your wild card at the moment, Mark?
like on the pitch or in like all
Uh,
five?
well, the midfielders in your wild card. So what? All
Yeah,
five?
All
You
your
said you.
yeah,
yeah.
your whole midfield.
Mo Salah, Mbomo, Semenyo, Onana, Pereira.
And up top, you've got Haaland, I'm guessing.
Yep, Haaland, Havertz, Ndiaye,
Ooh.
Ndiaye. Yeah,
So you're gonna have to play one of Onana, defensive midfielder. Get these
mm,
got goal threat, but
yeah.
defensive
I've
midfielder.
got him on.
Andres
Yeah,
Pereira, defensive midfielder,
mm.
and NJ
Pereira's on the
every
bench.
week. Yeah,
Yeah. So I was looking at
Mm.
Pereira, and his fixtures are actually his next fixture. So I am planning on getting rid of him. He goes against Forest. The only downfall is obviously Forest's defence at the moment is unbelievable.
yeah, it's good.
It's got Man City next. I can bench him. It's fine. Which I'm benching him at the moment. But it was a budget thing. Then they've got Villa and Everton, which they're classing as quite difficult games for the next four.
That's what I was saying about the fixture
Mm.
ticker. I mean, Villa is
Back.
Villa at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. Villa is yes. Yeah. Villa at
Yeah.
home right
So
after Man City.
yeah. So I mean, obviously the City games. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That speaks for itself. But I
Yeah.
actually think Fulham's fixtures are better than you think. I mean, they've just sorry, Matt, just been up to Newcastle and had, you know what I mean, and just had Newcastle at theirs and had a bit of fun. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like they
Oh
can
Yeah.
still.
yeah. The fun bearing. I'm not saying Newcastle played very well in that game at all, not in the slightest. But the Smith Rowe's goal can, like everyone knows, Nick Pope's terrible with his feet kicking out, and every fan's heart skips a beat every time the ball goes back to him. But shot stopping, there's never any problem at all. And then Fulham's second goal, he completely fumbles it into the
Yeah.
net. So that was a gift. And then the Fulham's third goal, what Bruno was doing, playing the ball across the goal, right across the goal, and it ricochets off Muniz'
Yeah.
backside
Yeah.
into the path of Jimenez, and Jimenez is just effectively it's him versus Pope, so
Yeah.
he's got an easy finish with no defenders near him. And what I do find ridiculous though, on top of the fact that we gifted Fulham two of their goals, is how Muniz actually got an assist in
Yeah.
FPL for that.
Yeah, it's like the best. It's like that's what I mean. It's and loads of
Mad.
people
Mad.
transferred him out as well. Loads of people like because of his minutes and everything. And then people are like again.
Yeah.
Another lesson I might have learned is like context. because you can get really
Mm.
annoyed about certain things happening to you or against you or for you or whatever. A bit like it's like
Mm.
VAR. Do you know what I mean? But you look at that and you think, oh, I'm so annoyed. I've just got rid of him, and he's finally got an assist and
But
returned. And
that's
then
the
you
thing,
find out
isn't it?
what it is, and you go, oh. But do you know what I
That
mean? It's not like it was a De Bruyne through ball through loads of players. It sort of like bounced off his ass, and then someone was 1-on-1. So it just like helps you sort of like make peace with your decision a little bit more.
mm,
I think
that's
Do you,
that's probably what I learned.
that's something I need to do more on, because I'm generally, me as a person, I can be quite reflective, and if I make some choices and have a bad game week, and this kind of all linked back. I wild carded in game week 4, and it was quite a knee jerk thing, because the Liverpool players I started with the season with was I started with Jota rather than Salah, even though at the beginning of the summer I was like, right, Salah only draft. Yeah, I started with Haaland because of the hat trick against Chelsea pre-season,
Yeah,
and Jota was doing well, so it was okay. Then he'll cover stereotypically FPL were the Salah points, not which is not possible, but he'd get attacking points for Liverpool. And I also, for budgetary reasons, went with Kwanzaa in defence. And
I
there
he
didn't
scored an
fall
own
in
goal
that
tonight,
trap.
didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
He scored an own
there
goal,
was
yeah.
all the uncertainty of Liverpool, what Liverpool's defence is going to be like under Slot. So I thought, well, Liverpool fans have been saying that Kwanzaa was going to start in the back 4. So I thought, right, if Liverpool's defence is going to be shocking, I don't want to be too heavily, even though Trent's at his cheapest price for many a year. I thought I don't want to spend 7 million on a defender, so I went a bit more balanced and I went for Jota in the middle, and then there was a Manchester United game where Salah and Diaz, hauled massively. Jota got nothing, and that was their third straight clean sheet. And I just thought, I've got no Liverpool defensive coverage. I haven't got, like, Jota's not performing as he was as was forecast. So and just that particular day, as it was a Sunday, absolutely killed. I went from a decent green arrow to an abysmal red because of that one game.
Yeah.
So I then just hit the wild card on the Sunday evening, and I looked at certain players I wanted to keep, but I mainly thought, right, I definitely want triple Liverpool. So I switched Jota to Diaz, brought Salah in, taking out Saka at the time, and I did keep an eye on the fixture ticker and thought, right, game week 6 fixture swing. There's a good patch for Arsenal, so I'm going to want Arsenal coverage there. And there was a lot about
Sorry, keep
Brentford's
talking.
fixtures as well. So I looked at both of those and thought, right, well, anyone wildcarding in game week 6, which is predicted, are probably going to go with triple Arsenal and triple Brentford.
Yeah.
So I thought, I don't want to end up taking a massive hit 2 weeks after a wild card, to have the bodies in from those two covered.
Did you not have any free transfers in game week 4 then when you wild carded?
Well, I'd used the 2 up the week before to take out Kwanzaa and Nkunku.
Okay.
Because
so
I'd started the season with a squad which I thought, right, this'll, with the view to it being, I don't want to plan an early wild card. I want to get a decent squad that would go on for a while, so I'd have the flexibility in it. And then it was the Liverpool decisions that hurt me with rank, and and therefore it was sort of, as I said, knee jerked activated the wild card because the free transfers I was hoping to build up over the time went to pot because of the Kwanzaa and Kunku situation, and I was just getting so iffy and shaky about their prices dropping, was why I used the free transfers to sell them, and then there was the nut shortage on Liverpool, so I just hit the wild card.
Yeah, I had that with that and Kunku. So I wanted to play João Pedro against Arsenal. Genuinely did.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but you know when you just get a thing, he's going to score this week.
I was the same on the admin one.
I knew João Pedro was going to score against Arsenal.
Some sort of dodgy goal or something like.
Don't know why. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just thought penalty maybe. Don't know, but I had a thing, and then I hadn't made the transfer, and I almost, again, you got to be careful, but I wanted to get to 5. I don't know why. I've never like, very rarely in the years I've played have I got 2 free transfers and gone, oh, there's nothing I can do. I'm just going to have to make a random transfer so I don't burn one. So I don't know what planet I was on where I thought I could get to like 3 or 4, but I didn't want to do Nkunku to Smith Rowe, so missed the first price drop and price rise. So Nkunku went 6-4, Smith Rowe went 5-6, and then I think that was like on the Saturday or Sunday. And then it got to the Wednesday, and then Nkunku was about to go to 6-3, and I was like, I can't justify losing 0.2 to play João Pedro against Arsenal, because although I've got a gut feeling he's playing the best defence in the Premier League. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, if I just don't act on this, it's not worth the. And I think Smith Rowe had a decent fixture anyway. I think he blanked, but he's obviously done quite well for me ever since then. But like, price, I'm actually now sat here because you were saying about. I'm now sat here with 3 free transfers going into a wild card, and now I'm almost spoilt for choice. I don't actually know what to do. Do you know what I mean? Like you obviously didn't plan yours, so you've just gone for it. Do you see what I mean? And then now you're looking at trying to get Arsenal players in. I take it.
It's sort of bit me on the backside really, because I have sort of kept an eye on how, like, the squad I had when I wildcarded, how that's done in the 2 weeks since, and I think game week 4, my previous team would have got me 5 points more, and last week I didn't do the final calculations after the Sunday game, but I'm pretty sure it would have outscored as well. I didn't have a bad week. I got 66.
Don't do those calculations.
It was with the transfers. I'd looked at the fixture ticker and thought, right, well, I definitely want to have at least one Brentford and one Arsenal, and then use my free transfers that I'd get from game week 5 and game week 6 to bring in Arsenal, either two more Arsenal or an Arsenal and a Brentford. So I ended up going with Raya in goal as my Arsenal defensive coverage, and I did a last thing and brought in Collins in defence for Brentford, with the view of thinking, well, he can sit on my bench game week 4 and game week 5, which he has done. And I got in Diaz, so that obviously worked out nicely, ish. But players I'd got rid of, like I got rid of both Robinson and Smith Rowe from Fulham because of their fixtures. I got rid of them. Saka I took out. Who else?
If you could go back,
I took out Chris Wood, so that's obviously backfired as well. But that wasn't necessarily because I wanted to take him out. It was I needed the $500,000.
Yeah.
I needed the $500,000, and everyone was all the raving about João Pedro, and I was like, right, well, that's an easy way of saving £500,000 wood down to João Pedro.
I'll tell you what, you can disagree, right? But they've made it tough this year, haven't they? With
Yeah,
Well, I think
they
yeah,
credit
yeah,
they've made
credit
it
where
tough.
credit's due. Pricing
yeah.
this season's been brilliant.
Yeah, yeah,
You still got good
It's
budget
really
options. You still got
yeah.
good budget options. I mean, you haven't got Cole Palmer this year, but he's an enigma in the game anyway. But that's right. And people are getting impatient with Rodgers and saying, "Oh,
Yeah,
he
but
should
what
be,
can they
oh,
expect
what's
for the
he
money?
doing?"
For the
Yeah,
money,
that's kind of
it's
where I'm
cheap.
at with it. Like he's 5
Like,
million playing number
who
10.
else are you going to
Like,
get?
yeah, who else? Who else are you gonna get? Like genuinely. So
Ndidi,
just
and
yeah,
Ndidi
so
from
just let
Leicester,
him.
who's done all
Let him
right,
cook.
but
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just
yeah,
he'll come good, and of course
yeah.
you get reward again. That might be another lesson. Be a bit more patient with players. Give them a chance.
It's all right. I'm
Like
learning.
yeah,
just
yeah.
because they don't, just because they don't return in the first 3 weeks.
Why
Do you know what I mean?
wouldn't
Like you can
they?
see a
Like,
dad. You can see a dad
Yeah,
from
well,
a mile off.
I've
Like when you
fallen.
watch Morgan Rogers, he looks like he creates a
yeah,
few
but
chances. He's
do
had
you
a
go
few.
into every game like expecting every single player to return? You don't, do you? Like
No,
No.
you just don't. You hope for it, of
no.
course you do, but you're not going to expect
Mm.
it. Like for a
I don't
player
think
of
you.
that
Yeah.
price, like
You'll
Yeah,
get one a season. You'll get one game week a season where I think like 9 out of your 11 will return. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
But maybe
yeah,
sometimes 10 if you're really
mm,
yeah,
lucky, and 11 if you're
yeah.
in dreamland.
And
But
that'll
like, there's
happen once a
always going
year
to
if you're
be
lucky.
yeah, and that happens like once a year. But that
Yeah,
very rarely ever happens. And a lot of
yeah,
the time for me, it's the players I don't think are going to do well this week. Do well, and a lot of the players. Do you know what I mean? Some like, for example, I thought Jota would come good this week,
yeah,
and he didn't even
well,
start. Do you know what I mean? And then
yeah, yeah,
a lot of the time
yeah.
you can't predict it. You can just sort of make
No,
the best decisions with what you've got, and then
and
hope it comes good.
I think some people in the FPL community were captain Jota against Nottingham Forest because he's got a phenomenal like 6 goals in 5 games or something against Forest. So not only had they got him in their team, but they captained him, and then he comes off in the 59 and a half minutes to
yeah,
get the single pointer.
Hate Armstrong.
Diaz strolls off and comes off 30 seconds later for 3.
Yeah,
And then Liverpool go on to lose. But yeah, I think the patience thing again. I've tried to go with that and stick with that. But with the transfers after making my wild card, I was looking a lot about fixtures and what I could do to make sure that at least using my free transfers, I wouldn't be too behind with those wild carding this week. And I have made my transfers for this week, possibly.
yeah.
I've listed from about 8 different combinations, but
Well, after
it was
seeing, sorry, carry on. Go on. Sorry.
yeah, and I think another lesson which I've learnt with transfers, rather than saying like, right, is it Salah or Saka, for example, as that's a quite a popular theme this week, is like, well, it's not, because longer term, Saka like consistently gets returns, but he doesn't necessarily haul.
yeah,
Whereas Salah can get, any given week he could get like 16, 17 points. Saka's normally like he'll get a goal or an assist.
an 8.
Or he'll
Yeah,
get taken off.
Yeah,
But
that's
that's the
sort of
thing. That's
that's
what
sort of like that
that's
sort
why I
of
like
6 to 12 points is kind of roughly where Saka gets a lot of the time. But is what I'm weighing up with my choices, thinking, right, well, it's not one. If I can't get bring Saka in financially without taking a massive hit, because I've got Salah in my team at the moment, is right, well, what would the combos be? Because if I were to take Salah out to take money out, because my Arsenal defensive coverage is Raya, which if he's got a thigh injury, that rules me out of that this week. So that makes me kind of think, right, well, I'll need to get in Gabriel, most probably.
Yeah.
So it would be, do I either bring him in for Robertson, 6 million for 6 million, or
Probably, yeah, because
do,
Robertson's
or
more
do
of a
I
card risk.
or do I sell Salah to Saka to get some funds, and then that can be to upgrade one of the cheaper defenders to an Arsenal defender.
Matt, did you say you've got
Um,
Haaland? Have you got Haaland?
I've got Haaland. I've still
So
got Isak.
personally,
Um,
what I like is the fact of having Salah and Haaland, because the people who don't have Salah will most likely captain Haaland. Those who don't have Haaland will captain Salah. I'm thinking, if I've got both, then I've got more opportunity to go captain someone else as a differential. If they both return, I'm
you're
captaining
not wrong.
Havertz this week, I think.
but then
I'm going to captain Havertz.
he's been playing midfield because
Yeah, because
Even if he
when I was
assists.
looking into this
Even
when I
if
was
he
looking
assists.
into it like 2-3 weeks ago, and in my planning, this again goes with where planning goes to pot. I brought Salah in, and I was going to the plan was, right, I'm going to go without Saka, and instead I'll drop Isak down to Havertz. That was my plan. But then Havertz has been playing deeper and in midfield because of Odegaard and Rice's thing, which therefore think, right, well, I'm not just saying this as a Newcastle fan, but even against Man City, I think I've got better. I'd say there's a better chance of Isak getting a brace playing up front at home against Man City
An e-brace.
than Havertz has playing midfield. And so for me, I'm not saying I'm necessarily keeping Isak long term, but I think the for me, I think where with my 2 free transfers, it's more about of the players I want to bring in are more midfielders or defenders rather than forwards. So I don't want to necessarily take, so I don't want to take a massive hit. But to be fair, I may well be planning on taking Isak out in the next couple of weeks anyway, using a free transfer to take him out for, I don't know, maybe Solanke or Jackson or something. But I think there are other priorities for me this week that I'd like to utilise my 2 free transfers on.
Yeah, you see,
Martin,
Jackson.
are you seriously not going to captain Salah against Wolves? You're going to captain Havertz
No,
over
because
Salah?
already, I think
You
when I
literally
last
just
checked,
said that if one's got one, captain the other one, and then if one's got the other one, but
Yeah.
you've got both and you're captaining Havertz.
yeah, because I'm thinking if they both return and someone captains Salah but they don't
Sorry.
have Haaland, so I'm thinking
Yeah, go on, go.
if they both return and one doesn't have one, and I've got both, but then Havertz returns, I'm quids in.
That's the
I'm not
most
even triple captain
FPL
in just for
math I've ever heard. Absolute FPL math.
Right.
There.
In which case, those either watching or listening, however you're accessing this, next episode, I think first question has definitely got to be to you, Martin, on, right, how was your game week? Who did you captain in the end? Did you
Captain
stick
Ray
with
when
your
he was on the
initial
bench.
ballsy decision of captaining